Christmas night. A night that's supposed to be filled with warmth, kindness, and peace. But for one man, alone on a bench beside a quiet courtyard in South Carolina, it ended in horror. Flames, screams, and death. His name was Henry, and while the world celebrated, a group of young men turned his final moments into a nightmare that defies imagination. What makes the story even worse? They walked free. No arrests. No charges. Not even a trial. If you've ever witnessed cruelty go unpunished, if you've ever seen someone wronged and no one stepped in to help, this story will leave you shaken. Smash that like button, subscribe, and stay to the very end. Because Henry deserves more than silence. He deserves to be remembered. Henry wasn't always homeless. No one really is. He had a past, maybe even a family, a job, friends. But by the fall of 2015, life had chipped away at him enough that Henry had become one of the thousands of people in America living on the margins, unhoused, unseen. In a quiet South Carolina town, he became a familiar face. He slept on the same bench every night, tucked under a flickering street lamp beside a subway and a small courtyard. Locals saw him daily. Some nodded politely. Others ignored him. But he never caused trouble. Never asked for much. He fed birds. He kept to himself. He would smile at workers in the mornings, even when he looked cold and tired. There was something gentle about Henry, something peaceful, even in the face of abandonment. But not everyone saw that. To some, he was just a thing, an object, a joke, and worst of all, a target. Part 2. The Boys Upstairs, 5:30 to 10 o'clock. Just a few blocks from Henry's bench was a rundown apartment building where a group of young men lived. They ranged from 17 to 21. Loud, arrogant, reckless. They drank often, threw parties, and like many people with just enough power and zero empathy, they got bored. And when they got bored, they found something to entertain them. They found Henry. At first, it started with name-calling, mocking him from a distance. But then it escalated. They began duct-taping Henry to benches. One witness said they once threw him into the courtyard fountain and ran off, laughing as he flailed in the cold water. They filmed it, shared it. To them, Henry wasn't a person. He was content. He was amusement. And the worst part, Henry never fought back. He just took it, silent, dignified, but alone. And his silence only made them bolder. As December rolled in, the nights got colder, more bitter. Henry's coat was fraying. His boots were worn thin. But he still returned to his bench each night like clockwork. On Christmas Eve, several people saw the group of boys pass by his bench. They were drunk, loud, laughing. One witness remembers them joking about giving Santa's last gift. Nobody knew what that meant. Not until the next night. It was late. Past 11 p.m. on Christmas night. Most homes were quiet, lights dimmed, the streets nearly empty. Henry lay curled on his bench, trying to keep warm, unaware, defenseless. Then, a sudden burst. A loud pop, a roar, and screaming. Flames shot upward, licking the sides of the subway restaurant. The bench was engulfed. So was Henry. A witness from a nearby building called 911. The fire department arrived quickly, but the damage was done. Henry was burned so badly, he was nearly unrecognizable. He died before he ever had a chance to speak. And in their desperate effort to save him, to put the fire out, first responders unknowingly destroyed the crime scene. The forensic evidence washed away. No fingerprints, no footprints, no proof of accelerants, nothing. Except for one chilling detail. Multiple witnesses saw that same group of boys hanging around the courtyard just minutes before the fire. And then, suddenly, they were gone. Police began their investigation immediately. They canvassed the area, talked to residents, and over again, they heard the same names. Same descriptions. The young men who had bullied Henry. The ones who mocked him, tied him to benches, filmed his humiliation. People remembered them. But not a single person could say they saw the exact moment the fire was set. No direct evidence. No confessions. No camera footage. And then came the lawyers. The boys' parents quickly retained legal counsel. Each young man was instructed to remain silent, to give no statements, to offer no cooperation. Without confessions, and with the crime scene contaminated by the very people trying to save Henry's life, the case crumbled. There were no charges, no arrests, just nothing. Henry was buried in a county grave, unnamed, unclaimed, alone. But here's the thing about injustice. It never really goes away. You can bury the case. You can silence the suspects. But the memory stays alive, especially in small towns. A quiet movement began. Locals painted a mural near the courtyard, a silhouette of a man on a bench beneath a burning tree. Someone installed a small plaque on that bench that simply read, "He had a name. Henry. We failed him." Online forums picked up the story. True crime fans, Reddit sleuths, investigators. Names began to circulate. Patterns emerged. And while the law couldn't touch them, shame could. Some of the boys, now men, lost jobs. One was forced to leave college. Another moved out of state. Entirely. They escaped legal justice. But they couldn't escape public memory. Every Christmas, people gather near that bench. They light candles. They leave coats and blankets for others who live like Henry did. And every year, someone scrawls Henry's name in chalk across the concrete. He may have died in flames. But what those boys didn't count on was that they lit a fire they could never put out. Henry wasn't a monster. He wasn't dangerous. He wasn't a threat. He was just poor, alone, forgotten. But to a group of callous boys, that made him less than human. This story is a brutal reminder. Cruelty thrives in silence, but justice has a long memory. If this story moved you, hit that like button and share it. Let Henry's name be louder than their silence ever was. Tell us in the comments, what would justice look like in a case like this? And how should society handle crimes that never get closure? Subscribe for more stories that deserve to be told. And remember, stay kind, stay vigilant, and never look away.